Hello everyone, welcome back to Where Swans Walk. Tonight I'm joined with Hugh and James. Rich is unfortunately not with us tonight. And yeah, we're going to go straight into the game later on, discussing whether they're offside or onside goal for Vipotnik's goal. We're going to hold our opinions later on. But first off, we're going to react to our predictions last week. James, you weren't with us, unfortunately. You were stuck in horrific traffic in Port Talbot. So, unfortunately, you can't give us your predictions, otherwise I'll be cheating. Hugh, what you said for Forest and Birmingham?
I said 2-1 Swansea for Forest, so I got the score slightly wrong, but I got the result right.
You did.
I think I said 1-1 for Birmingham, which is what it should have been if our goal wasn't disallowed.
Yeah. So, pretty close, to be fair. I believe I went for a Forest win, and I think I went for... I didn't.
Disgusting.
Yeah, I think I went for a Forest win. Just thought bounce back from Ange, but thankfully they did not. And I believe I went for a Swans win against Birmingham as well, or a draw. So unfortunately, I got none of them right. But yeah, so this week we're going to start off with a new segment with an alphabet of the club. What makes Swansea great? So this week, Hugh and James, we're going to start off with A because it's the first letter of the alphabet. It could be manager, an ex-manager, player, ground, or whatever, anything to do with Swansea City. What makes the club great with the letter A?
I'm going to go Angel Rangel. Not only because he was a great player, but also a great bloke and did a lot for the community. Still does. Did a lot around Swansea, homeless charities and stuff, feeding the homeless. So first thinking of mine is him, Angel Rangel.
For me, it's got to be Mr. Swansea himself, Alan Curtis. I don't think you'll find a person in the surrounding area that will ever say a bad word against that man. Club legend. Get the statue out for him. Get him right next to Ivor. Yeah, that's Mr. Curtis for me.
Yeah. I was going to say Alan as well. I've met him a few times and he's a great bloke. Absolutely great gent. He'll talk to you for hours. Absolutely loves the club. He talks to you about the club more than the actual fans, I think, which says a lot. He is Cardiff. But yeah, so next week is going to be B. So let us know in your comments down below what you think is great about Swansea, beginning with A, and next week B. So let us know down below. So moving on. We've done last week's prediction, and A to Z. What player deserves more credit so far this season in both of your opinions? I've got some players on screen which have been spoken about in the last couple of weeks, but who do you think has been an underrated player or deserves more credit for being just a donkey in the squad or just putting in a shift of the season?
I think Cabango for me. Again, I'm not really hearing a lot be said about Ben this season. He's been, consistent, if not anything, game to game. I think he goes quite under the radar. I think the minimum you get out of Ben every week is 7 out of 10. So I think maybe he kind of flies under the radar a little bit. Whereas if you did take him out of the side, then there'd be a noticeable drop off if we were to be without him. So yeah, and I've seen a lot of people giving Burgess praise recently, especially after the cup game the other day. But I really do think Ben really hasn't had a lot of praise come his way this season, and he hasn't really done a lot wrong either.
No. I think that just says a lot about how well he performs week in, week out, to be honest. If you're expecting to play that well week in, week out, well, he's going to fly in the radar because that's just a typical Cabango performance then.
Yeah, I think Galbraith's probably been the player of the season so far. The bloke's unbelievable. So I think he's got all the credit he deserves. I think someone's probably slightly under the radar, and he probably was last season as well, is Viggs in goal. I think he's been solid. He's made some unbelievable saves the last couple of weeks. He was probably just a close second for me behind Franco last season. So I think, again, it's probably a bigger for me.
Yeah. Both great shows. I'm going to go with Cabango. I think at the back line, you got to have a strong figure who puts in a shift every game and plays that well, and Cabango does that every week. And having Lawrence as well in goal, having a keeper that good in between the sticks just makes a hell of a difference. It puts more confidence on the players.
Definitely.
And right, here it is, boys. Time for me to torment you both. So we got a clip from Sky Sports, and I'm just going to let it play, and I'm going to let you get your thoughts in after. Was it onside or was it offside? So I've got the build-up just beforehand, and yeah. Well, if it plays. It's not going to play then, is it? No, it's not going to play. Right, anyway, apologies for that. I'm going to have to work on that next week. But, so this is the moment the ball gets crossed into Vipotnik. So I'm a bit of a tactical analysis. I like a bit of the analysis side of the game. So I've gone full Monday Night Football, Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. And if you stop me right there, this is the moment the ball leaves the foot. Is he onside?
I'm not sure the line's in line with the grass there, mate, but it's a close one. I mean, I thought live he was on. I think he's very, very close. The linesman's banging line of it. I don't think he should be getting it wrong. I think he should be letting that go. Benefit of doubt there. The attacking team, it's borderline at best.
Yeah, my initial reaction to it when I saw it, then when they replayed it there in the game, was that he was on. And I thought, aren't they supposed to give the attackers a little bit of an advantage there? I mean, surely at that point, if he's bang in line with it, has he just gone sort of 50-50 and put his flag up because he's frightened of getting it wrong? Because for me, I thought it was on. When you look at the cross, you kind of, it's a little bit overhit at first, but then I'm again, when I look at Vipotnik's position in there, I think he's on.
I think so. The more you look at it, the more you watch the clip, you think he is on. If he is off, it's by a nose hair or a toenail. But I every time I look at it, he's on. He's onside every night and day. The only way that will be picked up if VAR is in the league, which is not. But as you say, linesman's got great view of it. Was it the right call? Millwall fans will say yes. We're going to say no. I think it's going to be down to who you ask, and I'm going to say no.
I think he's on.
Yeah. I don't think there's too much else to say about that, but that if that goal had gone in and it stood, do you think the Swans would have gone on and won the game?
It's a different game, the goal, but hard to say because I thought we were poor second half. But the game overall was pretty poor. So you can never predict the future, but I think, it would have completely changed the game, of course.
Yeah, I think Hugh's right. It would have probably changed the complexion of the game, but then I do worry that would we have made a bit of a pig's ear of it like we did with our game management? Because that second half, they were there for the taking and we didn't react well. So we didn't react to it. We didn't do anything at all until it was far too late. So I'm still a bit concerned that even had we gone 1-0 up, I still think maybe they score late on during the game because it's almost like we're trying to see it out from like 60 minutes on. I think I could still see Birmingham scoring at some point during the game. I think it would have been a draw, maybe.
I think a draw would have been a fair result as well, probably.
We were just talking a bit off camera, and James, you said about Alan Sheehan has a lot in common with, was it Ocean Spray? And that he's not very well at making subs. Do you think Sheehan's game management has cost the Swans a lot of points so far this season? In particularly this game.
I'd say it's definitely cost us 4 points. I'd say against Hull, he's made substitutions. It almost feels like you're playing Saturday League and you got to chuck the players on just for the sake of it. It was and Cullen that came on. This is no shade at the players, but neither of them were required to see that game out. It just felt like I'm going to put these players on just to keep them sweet. That's what it felt like to me. There was no real need to put them on. We then go on to concede a sloppy goal. Whereas maybe if we put an extra man in midfield or maybe someone just in front of the back four, I think maybe we don't concede in that game. And then Saturday, it's for a different reason. It's that we don't react to what's happening. So from about the 60th minute onwards, they're absolutely battering us in midfield. They're overrunning us constantly. You look at it, you've got Yalkoué on the bench who's really good on the ball. Perhaps someone who can hold on to the ball, get us out a little bit. try and get us further up the pitch. We don't do it. We do it until it's far too late. And then we go 1-0 down, and his big plans to chuck Liam Cullen on for 30 seconds. We had Manuel Benson sat on the bench. Again, we needed perhaps a little bit of an individual brilliance. We didn't bring him on. I don't know for what reason that is, but it just felt like when I was watching the game, everyone in the pub was like, "Oh my God, why is he not making these changes? Now we're getting completely overrun. We're literally letting them bully us here." And then he only reacts when it's far too late. So yeah, I think his naivety's cost us at least 4 points this season.
Yeah, spot on. Couldn't disagree with any of that. I thought the subs were poor, wrong timing, wrong play. The game was crying out for a bit of creativity from us. And shoring up the midfield, like James said, and he's picked the wrong players, and he's done it too late as well for me.
Yeah. So hopefully against Millwall this weekend he managed to make a decent sub that actually impacts the game, and you can the subs can change the game, and obviously in each game it hasn't. It completely hasn't. It's completely dulled the game down. I think Yalkuye against Forest was phenomenal.
Yeah,
he's getting up and down that pitch. I haven't seen him play that fast. You blink and he's gone. But
I think part of the problem is we've got such a good midfield, right? I don't think he knows the best combination yet, and I think Stamenic being out for a couple of games probably didn't help that. He's come back in, and I don't think he knows the best combination so far, which is a good thing to have, but he needs to find that balance, and I don't think he knows quite who to play when at the moment.
Yeah,
I think one thing for me, and that this may rub a few people up the wrong way because they'll just pull possession stats out, but I do feel that sometimes we are too eager to move the ball forward. I think there are times where maybe we should look to hang on to the ball a little bit and take the sting out of the game and force the opposition to play at our tempo rather than us constantly looking for that first pass forward all the time. It's great, like this, but that you can't do it for 90 minutes. There will be times during games, like on Saturday, I felt like when we did have possession, we were very, very frantic with it. We have a very good midfield, but it's almost like we're in such a rush to get it forward. We forget that maybe there's times where we can literally just hang on to the ball for a little bit and assert ourselves into the game. I think that is costing us a little bit. Like I said, it is great to see us trying to be more positive and trying to score more goals and be more attack-minded. But I'm just wary of the fact you can't do that for 90 minutes. Sometimes you will have to hold on to the ball. We've got the players that can do it, but I just sometimes feel there's a little bit of a reluctance to do that. I'm not saying go full Luke Williams and just possession for possession's sake. I'm saying just take the sting out of the game, lull them into a false sense of security and force them to play our way for a little while instead of, just constantly looking for that ball into the channel and looking to go forward all the time.
Do you think it could be a mixture of both then? Like the mixture of Sheehan doesn't really know what his best midfield is yet. So many options, and he's just trying to figure out what the best combination is. And also it's like a sort of like they just want to counter-attack constantly. As soon as they get the ball, they want to get up the other side of the pitch because they don't want to be playing in their own half. Because playing in your own half is apparently the worst thing you can do. But as you say, James, it's like sometimes you just need to hold on for that little bit, make a couple of passes, draw them in, and try and find that open space. And that's where the chance would come. But you don't have to be. You got to counter-attack in the right times, off a set piece, off of their deflected free kick on their behalf. It's finding the right moment. I think Sheehan doesn't really know that yet. I think it's a bit of both. I'm in the fence of both.
I think as well, I think we're trying to be too many different things. So it's almost like if you look at the way we set up game to game, it's almost like wildly different a lot of the times. There's no sort of, like we've talked about it before, there's no sort of base tactic underneath it. It's like we're trying to completely match ourselves up against who's in front of us without an actual base tactic and building from it. It's like too much is changing all the time. And again, is that down to him being inexperienced? Potentially. But I think like we have to go, right, this is the fundamental basis of how we want to play. Yes, we will change game to game, but I think we have to decide what we want to be really, really good at, and it can't just be counter-attacking and pressing constantly. Unless you're Liverpool or Man City, you can't keep that up for 90 minutes. You simply don't have the caliber player or the stamina to do it.
No, not even the best teams in Europe constantly counter-press or, press from the front for full 90 minutes. You've got to reserve that energy for the right moments. But so with that being said, we're going to move swiftly on to, I believe, next week's game. Prediction time. So next week's game is against, this week's game, is against the mighty Millwall. So James, you weren't here last week. Hugh knows where I'm going to go with this. So I'm introducing a 5 and 5 or like a flashback type of quiz. I'm going to pick one of you three at random every week. I'll give you 5 to 10 seconds to answer whether you know the answer, etc. It could be who was in the starting 11 against the last time we played Millwall, or the previous result was, or who was on the score sheet, etc. So this week it is, what was the score last time we faced Millwall?
Is it 1-0? 1-0 Millwall?
Yes, it was a 1-0 loss. It was a 1-0 loss. So straight away, that's the answer. It's pretty easy, pretty straightforward, bit of fun. But what do we think the prediction? What was your prediction for this week? Now, bear in mind, Millwall are playing currently as we're recording this against Watford at home. So we don't know how their result is tonight. But obviously, if you're watching this tomorrow, on the 23rd or wherever, you'd obviously know. But we don't. So back to you both.
Wait. Go on, James, up to you.
I think we're going to win 1-0 at home. I think on the whole we have looked a little bit better at home. Hull aside, I think we haven't done too badly. I don't see us scoring a lot of goals. I know we had a bit of a goal frenzy against Forest, but I see us being a little bit more conservative in the league. I can see it being a 1-0 win at home with Vipotnik scoring the winner. He's on fire at the moment. Should be 6-6, but we'll park that for the moment.
Yeah, I was thinking 1-0 or 1-1 before James spoke, and I think 1-0 is probably my head score. My heart score. I think my head's probably saying maybe 1-1. We're conceding too many at the moment, sloppy goals as well, set pieces. So yeah, I hope 1-0, but I think 1-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go a bit too optimistic, and I'll go for a 2-0. I think Sheehan will be this week saying, right, we're leaking too many goals, we're not scoring many chances. Just go out there, and if you get a chance, make sure it counts. Hopefully, he drills that into the squad, and I'm going to go for Vipotnik to score 2. Both of them to make up for last week's goal.
Fingers crossed.
So, right, that's the end of the pod for this week. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Many thanks to Hugh and James yet again for this week. Thanks for watching. See you all next week.